Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Science Olympiad Stats YouTube channel, where I analyze the statistics of various Science Olympiad teams around the nation and we compare them to each other. So, today I wanted to talk about a particular invitational that happened this past weekend on January 6th, and that is Marquette University's Invitational. Um, you can see some pretty competitive teams that attended this one. Marquette obviously attended their own invitational, but Adley East Stevenson also attended here, so we can see how Stevenson has progressed over the past couple weeks. If you'll note, in the last video, I talked about how Stevenson is not in my current ranking of the top 10 teams nationally, and I think I was justified in doing that. If you look at their record this year, um, it hasn't been super great so far. Boyceville, they got bodied pretty hard. Um, Palatine, Marquette beat them, and one of Neuter's teams beat them. It does look like they were unstacked for this one, but that's not so for Marquette. It looks like Stevenson is stacked here. I really don't see any indication that they are unstacked. Their other team here did significantly worse than their first one. Um, and if you compare their A team's rankings to Marquette, you can see that I was pretty much spot on with my ranking in the last video. Marquette, a pretty good team nationally, not quite as good as some of these other teams right now, but again, still a very, very good team. Um, and the fact that they're beating Stevenson, which I'll remind you is or was the national champion last year, the fact that they're beating them is pretty telling, I think. And you look at these placings, and you're like, well, I'm going to move my thing over here. And you're like, well, how did Stevenson lose this really? Because it doesn't look like they're doing too bad, and it looks like Marquette even bombed. What is that? Ecology? Yeah, ecology. They didn't do that great. Um, but if you continue scrolling over here, you'll notice this event, Robot Tour. Neither of these teams did very well, but Stevenson in particular really bombed pretty badly, and even their B team didn't do that great here. Marquette, I mean, they definitely did a lot better than Stevenson. This tournament didn't look to be super. I shouldn't say super competitive because you have two pretty good teams here. I mean, the tournament wasn't super big, so getting fifth isn't the greatest placement. Um, but I mean, and Tower as well. Stevenson did not do as great, and again, Marquette actually got first there. But this event in particular, Robot Tour, um, I'll give teams this. Robot Tour is a very time intensive event. Um, I know because I've been working with my team, Cumberland Valley, trying to help them in this event. And I mean, Robot Tour, it's a really, like I said, it's a really time intensive event. It takes a lot of time to build and program the robot. It takes a lot of resources, and like I said, it just takes time to get the robot to do what you want. So the fact that these two very good science, I mean, again, I'll restate this: Stevenson is still a very good Science Olympiad team. They're nothing to take lightly. They're just not as good as last year. Um, the fact that these two really good Science Olympiad teams didn't do that great in this event, not super surprising, especially early in the year. I expect that score to really go up. Excuse me. Especially for Stevenson, I expect the score to really increase, maybe even by like MIT or Solon. I forget if they're going to Solon. I think they are. Yes, they are. So look out for that. But I mean, other than Robot Tour, you can see Stevenson was some pretty good competition for Marquette. And if I remember correctly, Marquette only beat Stevenson by around 10 points. So really, if you look at this Robot Tour, if Stevenson, was at least on par with Marquette, kicking them out of fifth and down to sixth, so Stevenson would have been in fifth place, or maybe if Stevenson got fourth place in this event, um, they actually could have beaten Marquette by one point or maybe even tied them. But yeah, this event really dragged them down. And again, Tower fifth place isn't bad, but at this tournament, it's not the best, not the best placement. But I mean, yeah, you can see Stevenson doing well in almost every other event. It's just Robot Tour. And I mean, if you look at my rankings from last time, Marquette I have in eighth place right now. Um, I mean, I don't really think this changes that. I think this more speaks to how much Stevenson has fallen off this year so far. Marquette, again, still a very good team, but if you look at some of the evidence I cited last time, they got first at Harlem here, not really beating any super competitive teams other than maybe Nutrier. But like I said, they're not that great this year either. Um, and here, Boyceville, I mean, they got beat out by Monta Vista and Glen A. Wilson and Ward Melville and Tesla STEM, which again, I showed this in the last video, but Tesla STEM is the Washington state champion, which sounds really good, but Washington's not very competitive nationally. They got 28th last year, which is about middle of the road for a team at nationals. And again, here's Stevenson. This is almost certainly an unstacked Stevenson, but I mean, still look at these rankings. Like any number that's colored here is something that they got a medal in, I assume. So if you look at how few of these boxes are colored for Stevenson, you can start to understand why maybe they're suffering a little bit this year. But I mean, I think we have another data point for Marquette Palatine. So here again, I mean, Palatine beating out, and at Palatine, Marquette's beating out Nutrier and Stevenson. So I mean, it's and it actually looks like we have another one, Belleville. Yeah, not really competitive teams here either. So again, I think my ranking of eighth, honestly, Montgomery might be ahead of Marquette. Beating Stevenson here, a almost certainly stacked Stevenson, is not really this year anyway. It's not really something to brag about. But yeah, I mean that's where things are. This tournament didn't really change too much, other than reinforce the idea that Stevenson just not showing up like they did last year. What was the score at nationals? How much did they beat second place? They beat Solon by 20 points. That's a decent gap too. I mean, it's not like they barely edged out the win here. And even if they did, that's still, I mean, first place at nationals. Like, it doesn't get better than that. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see if Stevenson can pick up the pace at invitationals coming up. They got Solon coming up in early February. And they also have MIT later in January here. I believe they're going to this. Yes, they are. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see if they can. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think Stevenson, I'm going to look this up real quick. I'm going to look up Solon from last year, or MIT from last year. I think they got first. No, Troy got first. Sorry. Did Stevenson go to MIT last year? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, it doesn't look like they went to MIT. Unless I'm missing something. No. So we don't even really have a data point to compare them on there. So, by the way, in the video, I went over to Duosmium to look at that. I don't know if that transferred over to the video because I only have this screen shared. So we'll see. But, I mean, yeah, again, just reinforcing the point. Stevenson's not as good as last year. That's pretty much it for this video, honestly. I really wanted to make a video about more than just one invitational here. But I mean, there were two other invitationals that happened this past weekend, January 6th, that I wanted to talk about, but they have not released results publicly yet. The two invitationals are Northmount and Columbia, or Capital Area Region Invitational. They have not released their results yet publicly. And those two are important because Northmount had both Solon and Mason, so we can get more data on that matchup. And um, Capital Area had Syosset. So I really wanted another data point to confirm that Syosset's really as good as I think they are this year. But like I said, we just don't have that yet. If or when those results are released publicly, I'll definitely make videos on those. And just looking at where things are going these next couple of weeks, we got soaps this weekend. In a couple of days, I'll definitely be making a video on that. We have four pretty competitive schools. Carmel, again, it's kind of fallen off this year. Did they even go to nationals last year? I don't even know. They did. They got 17th. That's okay. This year, though, again, they don't look to be as good as they were last year. Looks like we do only have one data point, but I mean, here, getting beaten out by Munster, even if they're unstacked, you'd expect at least one of their unstacked teams to beat Munster here, which again did not win out the. Did it? Does Indiana? I don't think Indiana sends two. No, they do not. Nope. So yeah, not the greatest this year, but again, maybe soaps will change that. Maybe they'll beat Mason and CV and Lower Marion, and they'll come out on top here, and I'll have something to talk about there. But yeah, I mean, Mason, Lower Marion, CV, all going to be attending. I'm especially curious about this matchup. Like I said in the last video, I don't really have a lot of data on the Pennsylvania teams. These three could really be in any order, and honestly, any three of them could be any two of these could be in the top 10. I just don't know. So hopefully this tournament will shed some light on that. After that, we have, like I said, MIT at the end of February, or not February, January, and Solon at the beginning of February. Those two are, it looks like 2 weeks apart, maybe. So some really competitive invitationals at that time of year. Bird Sows at the end of February, middle end of February. Actually, Mentor, I just noticed this one. Mentor High School Science Olympiad Tournament. Looks like we got 4 of the teams, actually, that I have in the top 10 currently attending. If you'll remember, last time I said Troy, I was a little unsure about this placement, but they seem pretty good this year. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Not a whole lot to talk about. I just wanted to make a video this week. And like I said, I'll definitely be making a video after soaps, analyzing the results from that, because pretty much any way you slice it, these are going to be interesting to look at, and that's going to tell me a lot. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you want to stay up to date with the 2024 Science Olympiad season, then make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. And also, I had an idea for MIT and Solon. These are probably the two most competitive tournaments in the entire nation, especially MIT. I was thinking that I might be able to attend these in person and spectate the award ceremony and some of the builds. I might even do like interviews with some of the coaches of high profile teams. That's not a guarantee. It's not even a guarantee I'll go to these in person, but it's just an idea I had. So if anyone wants to see that, make sure to tell me in the comments. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and have a fantastic day.